Okay, now let's have a look at the spring. So let's remove some unwanted geometry. And we're going to focus on this rear end of the device. It looks like the battery's hanging in midair, but we have actually placed some template geometry for adding our spring. So go into the template sketch and converting the entities that we want to keep that are going to allow us to place our spring. So let's just make sure everything is constrained here. So this shape is forming the outline of our spring. Just putting in some reference lines just to kind of like mark the spring out. And just to show the angle. So this is a conical spring set at 15 degrees. And just setting up these sketches. These sketches are not driving the geometry, they're just to show the dimensions. And sometimes it's good to remind yourself of the dimensions, just so when you come to add your spiral for the spring, you've got your references right. And just double checking the dimensions. Okay, so I've got this. This is my radius. Bump that back down. We don't usually work to anything more than 2 decimal places. Okay, so this is my template, rough template for what I'm trying to build. Okay, so let's work on this plane. So we can put together our guide circle. Match it up to the center line. And then pin. And we could dimension it. We copied the rad. But we've applied it to our diameter, so we need to change this. Times 2 gives us our diameter. So I chose the dimension, but we could have just pinned it, the circle. Okay, so we need a reference plane to work to. Parallel to the front plane. Set back here. Okay, so you can see whereabouts it is in relation to the sketch, template sketch geometry. and in relation to the circle. Let's actually replace our circle. We need to step it back at plane 9. Move plane 9 a little bit further up the tree so we can actually change our circle. Right click, edit sketch plane, change it from face 1, which we don't want, to plane 9. And there we go. So it is now exactly where we want it to be. Right at the start of this line. So we know we've got a 1mm gap there. Basically need the gap behind this circle to place a flat strip piece that we haven't yet drawn, but that comes in the next section. So we're starting a spiral and we need to taper the spiral, and we know from previous experience earlier in the video that we need to taper this by 15 degrees, and we're tapering inwards. Let's select a reasonable number of revolutions and set an appropriate pitch so it meets the battery. So at the moment we've got a pitch of 1. That's not quite right. So we need to measure what geometry we have. So this section is 14mm long. Okay. So if we had 7 spirals and we made the pitch 2mm, we would meet the rear end of the battery. So let's reapply our taper. 7 revolutions. Let's taper inwards. Pitch of 2, which means we would meet the body. Something wrong with our taper. 15 degrees. This looks more like what we're looking for. Okay, so we're happy with this. Now, we just need one more sketch. We need to draw this circle, and this is going to be the wire diameter basically. and it's going to be 1 mil. Okay, so it's aligned to that rear corner of our shape. Realistically, it's at the wrong angle. We need this to be on the right plane. The first thing we do need is for the start angle to match the center of the circle. So let's have a look. 270 degrees. No. 90 degrees. Yes, that's exactly where I want it to be. Just where the circle starts. Okay, we're going to have to turn this circle around, so we're going to have to switch planes. I suspect this is going to be the right plane. Change it from plane 9 to the right plane. Okay, so then this should now intersect with the spiral. Sketch 51 really is just to give us a guide. So we select our profile and our sweep. So now we've got to select our path, which is going to be our spiral. Select the spiral. Yep, happy with that. Let's not merge it. So turn off merge result. Click OK. And there's the basis for the spring. You might want to grind the ends. I think I will in this instance. So I can use plane 9 to take off one of the ends. And that's taken the wrong side of the cut. So let's go back to surface cut. Maintain their selected body. Reverse the side of the cut. And there we have a ground end to a spring. We need to do the same thing to the other end. So I just there put together a reference surface, and we're going to use that reference surface to cut away some unwanted geometry. As ever, we're going to have to flip the side of the cut. hides the surface. And then you have a Finnish Spring with two ground ends compressed and in contact with the rear end of the battery. That's our spring. Let's just add a metal effect. So many choices. Just the body. We're putting the battery back in. You can see how it's interacting with the spring. And that is our spring complete. Let's finish the CAD project now by adding in the contacts. So these are the very last components to add to the device, and they're going to link the bulb holder to the battery via the switch. So I'm just here bunching up the spring features into a folder so we don't get mixed up. We're just changing the metal used in the spring. Just to make it a bit more distinctive, and we're going to follow this through with the contacts as well. So we can go back to our template sketch for our outline geometry. First of all, we're going to sketch on the right plane. Back to the template sketch. And this time it's quite fiddly, so let's just select the geometry we want rather than converting all entities. So we want these lines. You can see the flat strip forming here. So that's just converting what we actually want. Trim away the excess. So the strip is going to sit behind the spring, so we need to bring this down a little bit further. Let's take it past the spring, past the center line. It gives us a nice contact area. So here we're just creating some geometry for matching up how far past the spring we're going. So we're just using the spring reference geometry to control the dimension. So that looks pretty good. We can get rid of or hide away a template sketch. Go back to our new sketch, and then let's boss extrude mid-plane. So you can see we've modelled all the housing pieces that contain this strip. And there's our extrude. Let's give it a colour, the copper colour that we gave our spring. And there you can see the contact and how it fits in the device. So you can see around where the switch is, as the switch moves forward, the copper contact is going to be compressed against the secondary contact. Now we need to have a look at that secondary contact. So back to our template sketch. Let's highlight the geometry for our secondary copper contact. Convert those entities. Let's trim our excess. Okay, I think we're ready to extrude our final component. Let's go to the mid-plane. Extrude by 10 mm in either direction. I don't want to merge this with anything. And this contact is going to contact the primary metal strip, which is so the first strip we modelled gets compressed by the switch, and this one links up with the bulb holder. So first contact compresses against the second contact, and second contact makes contact with the bulb holder, and then the bulb holder transfers to the bulb. And that is all of our geometry. Let's just finish up by cleaning up this model. So let's place the contact strips in a folder of their own. Let's name our solid bodies. So we need to name the spring, the bulb holder, the second. So bulb, we're going to have bulb holder identifiers. Yeah, bulb holder parts A and B. Don't forget the bulb. And we have 2 batteries. battery 1. Now our first contact, contact A, and now contact B. So you see we've got all of our solid bodies modelled and identified, so then if we export any of these entities into a part of their own, they're easy enough to see. And that's it. That is our finished geometry for our torch. Slicing, sectioning the model, it doesn't like the spring. If we do it across the right plane, the spring should react as intended. There you go. Room for all of our internal components. I hope you like the project.